Hello, my name is Victor Aguilar, and this is my literacy autobiography. So, my primary years in elementary school, I did not like reading at all, but I did like writing. I was kind of keen to it, and I remember the first story I wrote and I was proud of was in second grade, and that was about a story with a bunny that enters a pie eating contest, and he ends up winning, and he went home and ate another slice of pie, and I thought that ending was so ironic and clever. I don't know why. I just thought I was very proud of it. And then in fifth grade, I felt like William Shakespeare because I remember writing a poem and reading it in front of the class, and I was so surprised by their reactions. They were clapping and praising me, and some even came up to me and asked me for my signature and on their copies of it, and I was just like, wow. That's when I first actually thought, you know what, I might have a talent in this writing thing. And then in sixth grade, I was approached by some teachers and asked to say a speech at the sixth grade promotion ceremony. So we had a prompt that the whole sixth grade class had a prompt. Tell your whole elementary school experience, and yeah, and so everybody had that prompt, but only a select few of us were asked to say it at the graduation. And I remember during the editing process, the teachers being very surprised that I used the word coincidentally. They were like, "Wow, did you help him write this?" Or and then they're like, "No, no, he did that by himself. He's very smart." And I just remember being like, "Wow, I mean, I guess this writing stuff really is for me." When it came down to it, though, I was very nervous. Getting in front of all the parents and teachers and students and stuff, that was very nerve wracking. But I remember saying a joke during the speech, and everybody was laughing. I had the whole audience laughing. And so that kind of eased the tension a little bit, and it made me more comfortable. And I remember that experience gave me a lot of confidence in my literacy potential. And I felt like I had a voice, and people wanted to hear it. But also on the other side, there was my disgust with reading. Elementary school, we used this thing called AR, accelerated reading. We used the color scheme, as you can see on the screen. Orange being the least difficult, light blue being the hardest. I never really got past red, I think it was. And I remember students making fun of me for that. Also, we had this thing called AR test. So if you took the test, you got the points. If you got the points, you met your AR goal. Well, I never passed the test. I always failed them, and so I never met my hour goal. And I always remember getting detention every week because of that. And so I affiliated getting detention with reading, and it turned me off of it completely. But in seventh grade, my writing was further encouraged because I got my piece published in a thing called the Writers' Tea Party. It was a collection of student essays. And I remember getting a backpack full of supplies, and it came with the writer's guide and the college dictionary and everything. And I remember that's another time that I was just like, wow, I guess my writing is pretty good. So just like, the snowball effect with all these teachers encouraging me and me getting my stuff published in little things like this, and it made me feel like I was actually good at writing. It wasn't until my 12th grade AP English class I had Miss Steinberg, and she introduced us to so many different books and genres and philosophical concepts and new terms and everything. And I was just enlightened. Just didn't know books could be like this. I was blown away. And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is still one of my favorite books to this day. Um, and then in that same class, at the end of the semester, a group of students, like five students from that class, got chosen to meet this author, Luis Alberto Urrea, who's from Tijuana in Mexico. And I remember reading this book, Into the Beautiful North, in within a span of a week. And for me, that was a feat because I didn't like reading at all. I just remember a specific scene in there where he depicted my hometown of San Isidro so well. I could see the people walking around while I'm reading, and just like the different settings and everything. And I was just like, wow, this is my hometown in a book. I've never experienced that before. So when we came to the event, I met him and I praised him for his work. I told him I appreciated his writing, and I asked him what's his best advice for an aspiring writer, and he said to read, 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 and write, write, write. And I remember being turned off by that because I was like, oh, I don't want to read. But I remember, was it the next year in college, I had an intro to literature class, and it was in that class that I decided, you know what, I gotta take his I gotta take his advice. If I want to become a good writer, I gotta start reading everything. So I started getting my hands on anything I could, and I started reading all that stuff, and it bumped up my level of critical thinking with everything that I was reading. and just my mind was open to a bunch of new thoughts, different perspectives, different writers' notions, their mindsets on the world, life itself. And I just remember that was the best decision I ever made, was to start reading. So my definition of being literate is uh, being able to read and convey your thoughts accurately and through your voice and writing. And that's what reading did for me. I was able to gain all these different perspectives and mindsets of different writers, all the sides of different stories and arguments, and to the point that I was like, you know what? Well, this is what I think about life or whatever the subject is, and I'm going to put my voice out there and write about it. So that's my definition of literature. I mean, of literacy. Um, and yeah, that's my presentation.